The alarm's blare cut through the silence, a rude awakening to another frosty London morning. Gabriel always had a bone to pick with Mondays, and today was no different, especially with winter laying its thick white blanket over everything. Despite the early hour, darkness clung stubbornly, making 7 a.m. feel more like the middle of the night. Gabriel's morning began unceremoniously, as it always did, in the modest confines of his one-bedroom apartment nestled in the heart of London's bustling metropolis. The space was a stark contrast to the grandeur he encountered daily at the office. His home, though clean and organized, bore the wear of years and a budget stretched thin. The furniture, a collection of second-hand pieces and budget finds, told a story of practicality over luxury. The walls, adorned with a few framed photographs of family and friends, added a touch of warmth to the otherwise utilitarian space. With the swift precision of a samurai, he killed the alarm, an instinctive act of defiance, and attempted to immerse himself under the pillow. Yet tranquility remained out of reach. His thoughts kept returning to the all-hands meeting that had taken place the week before. During a solemn office gathering, the CEO bluntly declared that economic strains required cutting the workforce by 10%. Gabriel, having heard rumors for months, had previously sought confirmation of his job security from his line manager. He was reassured there was nothing to fear and that the company was on solid footing. However, at the all-hands meeting, when Gabriel's gaze met his line manager's, the latter averted his eyes, betraying the false assurances he had given. The alarm's persistence heralded a battle Gabriel couldn't win. With a heavy sigh, he surrendered to the day. The previous night's attempts to drink away his worries still clouded his head as he shuffled to the kitchen. The winter morning's chill permeated the apartment, a reminder of the building's aging heating system. Coffee became his salvation, the sole force capable of piercing the fog in his brain, essential for transforming him from a zombie to something resembling a functioning human. Enveloped in his threadbare robe, Gabriel navigated the cramped kitchen, his breath visible in the cold air as he sipped his essential morning coffee. The ritual was a small comfort, a moment of calm before the storm of the day ahead. By 8 a.m., he bolted out the door, hitting London's murky pavements with his athletic strides, blending into the river of Londoners all marching to the rhythm of the daily grind. His journey to work was a daily battle against the elements and the crush of humanity on London's public transport system. The underground train, a lifeline for the city's workforce, was a melting pot of hopes, dreams, and, more often than not, desperation. The underground was a familiar battlefield where he navigated the throng with the expertise of a seasoned commuter. Gabriel, with years of experience, had mastered the art of finding standing spots where there seemed to be none, a small victory in the daily hustle. Yet, the crush of bodies and the mix of breath and sweat oozing from bodies was a stark reminder of the life he longed to escape. Despite his role at a revered investment bank in London's financial district, a position envied by many, Gabriel found himself trapped in a paradox of perceived success and the relentless struggle to stay afloat amidst soaring rental prices. He swiftly exited at his station, grateful to escape the confines of the underground. Emerging above ground, the polluted air greeted him, an odd comfort that had paradoxically become as revitalizing to him as a breath of fresh air. He quickened his pace to make it towards the office. The office situated in London's financial district was in stark contrast to his humble abode. It was a cathedral of modern business, a towering structure of glass and steel that dominated the skyline. Its opulence was unmistakable, from the polished marble floors to the art that adorned its walls, each piece carefully selected to convey success and stability. Gabriel's desk, situated in the open-plan expanse of the customer service floor, offered a panoramic view of the city, a constant reminder of the world outside the corporate bubble. As he approached the building's entrance, he caught a glimpse of a Rolls-Royce Cullinan pulling into the building's driveway. Its turquoise blue elegance starkly contrasted the gray monotony of his morning, offering a fleeting escape, a window to a world of wealth and ease. He slowed down his pace as he quickly did a mental calculation, realizing he would need to work another 10 years without spending any of his salary to afford a car like this. Transfixed, he watched a familiar figure emerge from the passenger seat as the driver drove off to park. Staring in disbelief, Gabriel recognized the celebrity stepping out. Their eyes met, and the figure called out,
"Gabriel, it's been a long time."
"Vincent, I can't believe it's you."
They shook hands and embraced like old friends.
"Wow, look at you. You're looking great and haven't changed a bit since our university days."
Gabriel, trying hard to conceal his astonishment at Vincent's display of wealth, responded shyly,
"And you're not looking too bad yourself."
Vincent casually mentioned he had to attend a meeting with the CEO of Gabriel's investment firm, a revelation that left Gabriel utterly astonished. Despite years of service at the firm, Gabriel had never had the opportunity to meet the CEO, given the 4 layers of management that stood between them.
"Just give me your number, and I'll call you after the meeting."
Gabriel quickly recited his number, and after exchanging pleasantries, they parted ways. His colleagues arriving for work were visibly puzzled, wondering how he knew this multimillionaire. The curiosity was clear on their faces. Gabriel, brushing off their questions, swiftly headed to the building's 4th floor. Their brief exchange was short but stirring, leaving Gabriel with a mix of admiration and introspection. Vincent's promise of a call was a glimmer of something different, something more than his mundane daily routine. He kept on pondering about this morning's encounter as he made his way to the office kitchen for another round of coffee. Upon returning to his seat, he noticed that the CEO had sent another email instructing all employees to assemble at 11 a.m. The reality of his precarious situation at the firm quickly reclaimed him. The office was abuzz with anxiety over another sudden meeting. Whispers and worried glances were exchanged as Gabriel pondered over his future. Despite the fear, he clung to the belief in his hard work and loyalty as his saving grace. Gabriel was thinking to himself,
Was this when the axe was going to finally fall?
Staff were huddling up everywhere in the corridors, whispering fearfully about what fate was going to befall them. The stark reality of Gabriel's precarious position at the firm swiftly gripped him once more. Anxiety permeated the office as murmurs of yet another impromptu meeting circulated. Throughout the corridors, staff gathered in small clusters, their hushed conversations filled with trepidation as they awaited their uncertain fate. Whispers and apprehensive looks were traded among colleagues, adding to Gabriel's contemplation of what lay ahead. His train of thought came to an abrupt halt as the CEO strode into the meeting room, a rare occurrence that had swiftly become an all-too-familiar harbinger of trouble. But the real shocker wasn't the CEO's presence. It was Vincent, his old university buddy, now walking in step with the company's leader, exuding an air of authority that Gabriel hadn't anticipated.
What the fuck?
The CEO's voice sliced through Gabriel's thoughts as he addressed the staff with crucial news.
To navigate the company through the challenging market conditions, we have successfully attracted fresh investment from a strategic partner. It is my pleasure to introduce Vincent, the chairman of a global conglomerate, who has come forward to support our company.
Gabriel was floored. How had Vincent, the same guy he used to hang out with, ascended to such heights in what seemed like a blink of an eye? A whirlwind of questions swirled in his mind, drowning out the CEO's further explanations.
Thank you for the warm welcome. We are enthusiastic about the vision of this distinguished company and excited for our partnership. Our commitment is to expand the services globally in the forthcoming years. I assure you, we will make every effort to safeguard as many jobs as possible.
The CEO couldn't hide his elation, clearly overjoyed at the prospect of Vincent's company pulling them back from the brink and offering a beacon of hope in uncertain times. As Gabriel returned to his desk, his mind was a tumultuous sea of thoughts. The day's revelations had thrown him for a loop. He attempted to focus on his work, to regain some semblance of normalcy, but distraction gnawed at him. Vincent's meteoric rise to success contrasted sharply with his situation. Here he was, working at a job that others envied, yet he was barely able to make ends meet. Vincent's grand entrance that morning, arriving in a vehicle more fitting for a Hollywood premiere than the company car park, was a spectacle that momentarily bridged the gap between Gabriel's two worlds. The fear of layoffs had been a shadow hanging over the office for weeks, an unspoken dread that permeated every conversation and every meeting. As he sat at his desk, the city sprawled out before him. Gabriel couldn't help but feel trapped in a life that was a mere facsimile of the dreams he once harbored. The realization that ambition and hard work were not always a guarantee of success was a bitter pill to swallow, a lesson that the appearance of Vincent, his old friend now turned savior of the company, had driven home with unanticipated clarity. This realization was a gut punch. For the first time, the full weight of his predicament dawned on him. He was trapped as he walked home through the bustling streets of London. He felt his phone vibrating. Pulling the device from his coat pocket, he was both thrilled and unnerved to see Vincent's name flashing across the screen. Vincent had made good on his promise to reach out. Seeking a quiet spot away from the city's hustle, Gabriel stepped into a secluded side street to answer the call.
Hey, Gabriel, what are you up to this evening?
This simple inquiry sent Gabriel into a whirl of doubt and insecurity. How could he possibly fit into Vincent's glittering world? But before Gabriel could voice his concerns, Vincent added,
I'm at La Plaza restaurant, just a 5-minute walk from your office. Why don't you join me for a bite?
La Plaza was known for its exclusivity and elegance, a stark contrast to Gabriel's usual spots. Its reputation as a gathering place for the city's elite with their luxury cars and designer clothes seemed a world apart from his own aspirations, now seemingly out of reach. The idea of stepping into that world, even for an evening, felt overwhelming, especially while he was budgeting his last $50 for the week. However, before Gabriel could decline, Vincent, perhaps sensing his hesitation, quickly reassured him.
Don't worry about the bill. I've got it. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
With a grateful murmur, he ended the call, caught in a tumult of excitement and nervous anticipation. The prospect of reconnecting with Vincent, a link to a past both shared and divergent, was enticing. Yet Gabriel couldn't shake off the weight of his own reality, so starkly different from the success Vincent represented. Curiosity, however, proved to be the stronger force, driving him to seek answers to the questions that had haunted him since their unexpected reunion. How had Vincent's path diverged so radically from his own? What secrets lay behind his meteoric rise? Turning on his heel, he made his way toward La Plaza. As he stepped into the restaurant's grand entrance, a rush of warm air greeted him. Mentioning Vincent's name at the reception seemed to open doors, both literally and figuratively.
Ah, you must be Gabriel. Please follow me.
Following the waiter through the opulent dining area, Gabriel couldn't help but marvel at the restaurant's interior. The design was a masterclass in luxury, from the rich textures of the upholstery to the subtle elegance of the lighting. Vincent, spotting Gabriel, rose with a smile that was both welcoming and confident. The ease with which he inhabited this world was evident in his posture and the casual wave he offered as a greeting.
I'm glad you decided to make it. Please take a seat. What would you like to drink?
Vincent's inquiry, though simple, momentarily stumped Gabriel. Opting for a glass of wine felt safe, a choice that didn't betray his unfamiliarity with the restaurant's extensive offerings. The waiter's prompt departure, upon Vincent's request for
My usual.
left Gabriel pondering the depth of his friend's relationship with the establishment. How many evenings had Vincent spent here in the glow of this exclusive setting to have such a rapport with the staff? Their conversation flowed effortlessly, a reflection of the underlying bond formed during their university days. Laughter and reminiscences filled the air, easing Gabriel into a sense of belonging he hadn't anticipated feeling in such a grandiose setting. Vincent's charisma was as infectious as it was illuminating, casting a light on the years that had passed and the divergent paths their lives had taken. The topic inevitably turned to their unexpected reunion at Gabriel's office.
You might have been a bit surprised to see me at your office this morning.
Surprised is an understatement. I was completely shocked.
Vincent's laughter then filled the space between them, a rich, unburdened sound that seemed to capture the freedom and success which Gabriel found both mesmerizing and elusive.
It's been a long time since we've seen each other. Life has been good to me. How about you?
Vincent inquired with genuine interest, though to Gabriel the question opened a chasm of disparity. Gabriel, with unexpected candor, shared his frustrations and fears about his job, the rising cost of living in London, and the societal and economic barriers he faced.
That sounds really rough. Well, what do you want to do about it?
There's nothing I can do. I've always strived to make the best choices, aiming for the best outcomes. Look at me, I've climbed to a top position at the city's best investment firm, and now my job is hanging by a thread. What more could I have done?
Well, you can break jail.
Break jail? What do you mean? I've lived honestly my whole life, always paid my taxes and followed the law. I've never actually been in jail. I've done nothing wrong. How can you say I could break jail?
Vincent paused before explaining.
What you've described to me isn't living. It's a form of imprisonment. I would know, as I was once in a jail, just like yours.
You mean you were in jail just like me?
Yes, very much so. In fact, it's almost surreal. It's like you're echoing my life from 5 years ago. You're trapped in the 9-to-5 system, the employee's jail. I was there too.
For the first time, Gabriel paused to truly consider Vincent's words. He had never thought of his esteemed position at the top investment bank in London as a prison. Yet as he reflected on his earlier thoughts of being in an ivory tower and a golden cage, he began to question his life choices. Could it be that he had worked so hard all his life only to find himself in a different kind of jail? All the years of sweat had only ended him in a jail system? Could this be true?
Think about it. Are you free? Can you get up and do the things you really want to do when you want to do them, the way you want to do them? If the answer is no, then you are in jail. Some jails have golden handcuffs. You had no idea you were being prepared for jail. The school system we went through prepared us to diligently wake up every morning to report to the school jailers. And God bless the wonderful teachers we had. They did not know they were part of this grand jail system. You were taught how to follow the rules and orders. You were taught the reward for following these rules was a good job, and you will live happily ever after. And when you grow old and retire from that job, you will be handsomely rewarded with a pension.
As Gabriel reflected on his life, he knew somewhere deep down that what Vincent was saying was true, even though it was hard to admit.
So you left the jail system?
Yes, it required me to take a different journey. It was a fork in the road for me.
What journey was this?
You see, everyone is on 2 journeys in life. We all see the outer journey, the jobs, money, the cars, the influence. But there is a second journey that is actually the true journey. That is the journey within. I took the journey within and escaped the 9-to-5 jail.
How can I escape this supposed jail?
I thought you would never ask. The first step to escape jail, is realizing that you are in jail. Without acknowledging this, you simply cannot escape. There are people earning 6 or 7 figures that are in this jail, but they never realize it.
Okay, mate, I get it. So I'm in this jail. Now what?
Well, Gabriel, you see, you are not the only one in your jail.
Perplexed, Gabriel responded,
What on earth do you mean?
You are not the only one in your 9-to-5 jail. You see, there are 3 criminals that stole from you. These 3 thieves are in jail with you.
Gabriel was just puzzled by Vincent's words.
Is Vincent high on something? How could he be accusing me of harboring 3 thieves in this metaphorical jail? Could it be that Vincent had simply had a bit too much of his cherished, my usual wine?
Vincent, observing Gabriel with a discerning eye that seemed to pierce through the facade of composure, posed his question laced with a deeper understanding.
Would you like some more wine?
Gabriel, feeling the weight of the evening's revelations, declined softly.
So thank you. I think I've reached my limit for tonight.
Ha ha ha. Enough of the wine or enough of what I'm sharing with you?
This is a lot to process. How can you be so sure that I'm dealing with these three thieves?
Gabriel's voice carried a mix of skepticism and a burgeoning curiosity, a desire to understand the truth behind Vincent's assertions. Vincent leaned forward, his demeanor shifting to one of earnestness.
Because I've faced the same three thieves in my own journey. The very same thieves once kept me company in my own confines.
Gabriel, in hearing Vincent's admission, felt a certain solace in knowing he wasn't the only one who harbored three thieves. It was a comfort, albeit a small one, to learn that Vincent, too, had once been ensnared by the same foes. Driven by curiosity, Gabriel leaned forward.
So who exactly are these three thieves?
Vincent settled into his chair, preparing for a detailed explanation.
Are you ready for this?
Gabriel briefly thought of the workload awaiting him at home. He checked his watch, a quiet nod to the obligations that beckoned. Seeing Gabriel glance at his watch, Vincent smiled gently and, lowering his voice to a soft whisper, said,
The first thief is the thief of time.
Vincent's straightforward yet insightful words caused Gabriel to pause, captivated and momentarily distracted from his daily routine.
The thief of time must be addressed first if you wish to alter your life. Time holds immeasurable value compared to money. Every time you go to work, you're essentially trading away your life for a paycheck. It's a direct exchange of your time for money. And when you're not working, you're not earning. While working longer hours may result in more money, it also encroaches on your personal freedom.
Gabriel felt a pang of discomfort at the last remark. The notion that his job, particularly under Vincent's newly acquired company, was part of a system designed to keep him barely above poverty, was a bitter pill to swallow. The concept of time as a thief was something Gabriel had never really thought about. Time, for him, was always something you managed, not something that could be stolen from you. Yet Vincent's words were starting to make an uncomfortable amount of sense. Gabriel was caught in a job at a company now owned by his friend, and it felt as though life had dealt him an unfair hand.
The employee model is meant to keep you running on a treadmill, going nowhere. It keeps you poor while the rich get richer, like me.
Hey, you're gloating at my expense.
It's all a game, Gabriel. I don't make the rules, but I learned how to play the game. I confronted the thief of time and took back control, and now I have people like you working for me.
Gabriel's frustration was evident, torn between resentment at Vincent's seeming arrogance and the realization that he was stuck in a losing battle against time for money. His thoughts drifted to their university days, reminiscing about the times he and Vincent were inseparable. Vincent had always been a reliable friend, someone who'd step in to help no matter the circumstance. Deep down, Gabriel sensed that Vincent was only reaching out to help him once again. Yet, acknowledging this help was tough. It was a blow to his ego, and it stung. But, perhaps for the first time, the reality of his predicament weighed heavier on him than the discomfort of setting aside his pride.
What should I do then? How do I stop exchanging my time for money?
You create assets. The wealthy build assets that generate income for them, assets that work even while they sleep. Like your company, which will keep making money for me even when I'm not actively managing it.
But I don't have the resources to buy a company.
I started with nothing 5 years ago. I took my knowledge, turned it into a training program, and sold it online. I made it once, sold it multiple times. That's how you begin to escape.
Gabriel's realization dawned slowly. His entire career had been about trading time for money, with no thought towards creating assets. Curiously, he had taken numerous online courses from people with skills akin to his, yet the idea of offering his own course had never crossed his mind. Instead, he found himself critiquing these courses, or their perceived shortcomings. Despite being a keen observer and armchair critic, it never occurred to him to step into the arena and produce his own content.
I made the shift from being a consumer to becoming a creator of products. You can do the same.
Vincent's words struck a chord with Gabriel, both motivating and enlightening him. He mulled over them, thinking, if Vincent can make that leap, why can't I? His exemplary work record spoke for itself. A top performer well-versed in his domain, who had frequently mentored colleagues. Gabriel recognized he was well-equipped to develop a product sharing his expertise, a realization that brought a sliver of hope to his current predicament.
I think I can do that.
Well then, let's drink to that.
Riding this wave of newfound confidence, Gabriel allowed himself to envision a future filled with wealth and global adventures, much like Vincent's. Lost in this vision, he was momentarily disconnected from his surroundings until the sound of his glass shattering on the floor jolted him back to reality. The swift response of the waiters cleaning up, paired with Gabriel's embarrassed apologies, brought a swift end to his daydream.
So, who's the second thief?
It's the thief of attention.